Good afternoon. Campbell McCrary here, Amvest Capital, New York City. Welcome to the Amvest Capital Inc. live webinar with BARUF Gold. BARUF trades on the venture as BARU, and on the OTC is BARUF. Hope you enjoy today's program. It'll be available in replay mode about an hour after we wrap up on demand. Same link. You can ask questions of management here. You can check out the links to the website, presentation, and stock charts. And at the end of the show, and important links, you can share there. And please give us your feedback at the end of the show. So with that, Amvest, of course, is a New York-based specialist investment management and corporate finance firm focused solely on the natural resource sector. And our disclaimer, this call is most definitely for informational purposes only. Very pleased to have with us Terry Filbert dialing in. He's CEO and chairman of BARUF. His webcam's on the fritz, but I think we'll do just fine going through the presentation. How are you doing, Terry?
Great, Campbell. Thank you very much for having us back again.
Yeah, okay. Just speak a little louder and take us through the show, and then we'll circle back with feedback. I understand you with Q&A, and I understand you're off to the races to production. So tell us about it.
Yes. We just started basically our construction about last week. I've been working on this in 2017, so it's a great time to get to this point. Let me grab the slides here and maybe move through so I can give you guys some. Anyway, so where we're at right now, which I think I've talked about it so many times, I'm finally glad we're here. As of February, we got our CEO did a contract of works license for 42,000 hectares on Sangihe Island. Immediately got a number of our staff out the island and started pre-construction work done, also land acquisition. Last week, actually the week before, we started clearing out land on the land we've been acquiring, and we will basically start pouring gold. Our target's to pour gold in January for our first pour, and basically it's a heap leach operation. So the leaching is about 90 days for us. So we'll pour about 3 times over that 90 days for that first turn. Our target at 100% of recovery is 1,000 ounces a month. Recovery will vary for the first 2 quarters, and after that our target is by the third quarter to be up to 1,000 ounces a month. Once we start pouring, also, we will basically be ordering a Merrell Pro plant. So we'll be using production, artisanal production, which is basically a manual production system. The same way all the artisanal miners use it in North Sulawesi or in Indonesia for that fact. It's an efficient system, but it is not. It's very cumbersome because it is manual. So once we do 1,000 ounces a month, it becomes a little too cumbersome. But when we order the Merrell Pro plant, it's supposed to arrive and be set up and ready to go within 12 months. So at the end of 12 months, we can start to scale the project. Then our production target will be 50,000 ounces a month. And that'll be probably 12 months after we get the Merrell Pro plant, we'll get it up to that level. Our current average cost is around 900, probably close to 1,000 now because the cost of fuel is going up so much. Third of our cost is fuel, so as fuel prices go up, so do our costs. But even with that, at 1,000 ounces a month, we have $750 an ounce free cash flow. That's about $70,000 a month free cash flow we have at that time. So that's going to work out well for us, and we'll be able to expand the program. Our management team, basically, we have people in place that we had when I left. Basically, 2019. December, I left to come over to close the funding, and then I got stuck here with everybody else in COVID. But I already had the management team in place at the site, so we were planning to start construction actually a few months earlier. So that's worked out really well for us, and even though I've not been able to get back this last year or so, my team's been building up the project. We have on our board of directors a number of very deep mining specialists. Everyone on our board basically has experience with Indonesia, so they've worked and they understand the challenges and the benefits of being in Indonesia. We are starting we just announced a financing And the financing is basically, we have enough money in the bank right now to go to production, okay? But it was brought to my attention, maybe we should build up a buffer again, because our buffer has been kind of whittled down, as we had 6 months we could not do any work on the mining project because of COVID. But at the same time, what got me to move on doing the funding was I could move my drilling program forward. We had planned a drilling program to bring 1 million ounces onto the books and indicated and measured. And it's a 35,000 meter program. We were going to start that program, we started drilling. So if we had a little more money earlier, because I didn't want to basically dig into our construction money, I could start the drilling program earlier. So we'll start drilling next month when the rig arrives. And that'll basically allow us to basically put a lot more ounces onto the bottom line. And then after that, we'll basically be able, part of that is infill drilling on the Beni Bas Bawani corridor, which is from our 2010 NI 14101. We show 835,000 foot ounces, so we already have that there. So to bring that in, just bringing that up into indicated and measured. But also this anomaly goes on for another 1.4 kilometers, and where that's the benefit is basically it just is the same exact area, but they never had any drill holes, so they couldn't put it into that report. So we will basically first explore, drill it, then we'll basically bring the infill onto it. By the time we finish, we hope to have that entire area of around 2.6 kilometers to give us about 1 million ounces indicated and measured. And then the old Miwah, which everyone always asks about. I did work out something with the stakeholders before I left in 2019, because I've been trapped over here in the U.S. in Seattle, basically, for COVID. Not being able to work on it, it's not something we do on Zoom. When I go back, I'm actually leaving for Indonesia on Monday. When I get back there, then this is one of the projects I'll start to tune up again. So, but right now, most of the work, this is kind of showing where we've been stock-wise. In Miwah, you can see here, basically brought us up the $800 million level, and then that fell off once they got put into protective, actually a moratorium was put on. That basically we hope to get back up. But even Sangihe by itself, we believe has several million ounces on it. So we believe Sangihe by itself can give us a pretty large one once we're in production and we're putting cash flow out. For those you don't know, Sangihe is on a gold reef right between Mindanao and North Sulawesi. There's around 10 major gold mines in those areas, both on Mindanao and North Sulawesi combined. We were right in the middle of it. Where this gold came from was it was about 1 million years ago. A large gold deposit came out in all the magma, and 20 volcanoes along that line were very active at that time. And so that's why you have all these mines doing the same thing we're doing with heap leach. I ran a mine in near Maysville, near where Newmont was, and it's like a Raditictor, on the same exact material. And they're running the same material. The earliest heap leach pads built in Asia were built in the Philippines by one of our directors, Joe Keane, and it's on the same material. So this is the best way to mine this material till out it's microscopic is to heap leach, so you don't miss anything. Our contract, we have a contract that works, which is probably the best type of license you could ever get. It was only issued in 1990 to 2005. It gives us a contract with the government. We have basically 42,000 hectares, about 100,000 acres, and basically which 25,000 acres or hectares of those are actually gold bearing. Show those here in a second. The island of Sangihe is actually quite unique. That's probably the best roads I've seen in outside of Jakarta. It also has a power grid and also has a strong internet and telephone network. At least until recently, and someone ran over the submarine cable, so that's been knocked backwards 10 years. But as you have that fixed here pretty soon. Staffing-wise, though, it's really second to none because a lot of people here from Sangihe have been going to North Sulawesi to work in the mining industry. So we have a lot of good HR available to us on the island. So we hope to hire 70 to 80% of our people from the island itself, which basically saves us on canteen and also barracks and allows the money that people go right back into the local economy. So basically, the exploration and drilling plan is based on the 25,000 hectares you can see along here. The 25,000 hectares basically starts from Beni Bassi, then it goes along to Oahu. We basically are just exploring between Beni Bassi and Samalong right now. This is where we're telling you our target's 1 million ounces. That at least 90% of the area the gold-bearing area has not basically been explored yet in detail. We have some good hits, both Tuari and Sede, and also Kupa. So basically, those are areas that we'll also start to explore in more detail. But this next year we'll basically be drilling out to measure indicated between those Beni Bassi and Samalong. It's a 35,000 meter program. And basically, up to date, we've done about 28,000 meters. Both East Asia, which formerly East Asia, and also other mining companies like PTMSM, which is Ashton Mining. We basically have two pits. Excuse me, Sergeant. We have two pits basically, which are shallow pits, oxides at surface. And so these pits will start. This is where the mining will begin, and where the land acquisition has been quite active. And we have about an average of 1 gram a ton. We'll keep putting on the heap leach pad. We're currently laying out the mining site. This is the area that we've been doing land acquisition on. We will start mining on in hopefully next month. And in January, starting to pour. So we're building 2 heap leach pads as well as three ponds. The processing plant we need to put in will be next to it. Processing plant will be coming for a year. We'll have actually, artisanal plant was not really a plant. It's just a bunch of equipment we have there, but it's not so much a plant. So you'll have also a waste area. And what we'll do is basically once we've basically mined, we take the topsoil off, bring over the soil that we've used in the heap leach pad, also in the waste area, and recondition it so we can basically put it back into the pit area to do reclamation. This is costing that we did back in 2019 for our Indonesian feasibility study. At the time, we're looking at a cost of 836 and aiming at a target. Once we get into production, we can bring our costs down. So we're aiming at a target 684. Now, basically, with the price of fuel, I was going to say our processing costs mostly versus fuel. And so, basically, if you see the cost going up like 3 times as much, that's going to end up pushing us close to $1,000 an ounce right now. So again, even at $1,750 where today, we're still at $750 an ounce free cash flow. And that's 1,000 ounces a month at $70,000. We get to basically 4,000 ounces a month. Of course, that's closer to $3 million. And again, we're expecting to have higher gold prices within the next year or so. Our cost shouldn't go up any higher though. Currently, where we're looking at, as I told you, that is the indicated 58,800 ounces. That is at those 2 small pits. Also, we have 1.5 million ounces of silver. We'll mine it out at the same time. When we refine it, we'll get a silver credit, which will pay for the processing. Really, we won't see any financial benefit at the silver until we get about $35 gold compared to what we're getting out of. $35 the silver. It's a better way to have coming out of the gold right now. And then there's good old Miwah. Miwah, which got this company. I came in 2017, just with my background. I started this company in 2017. I was mining on my own with my own team in North Sulawesi. I was brought into this with a conversation with Tocqueville and John Hathaway, and he asked me if I could come in and take a little company. At the same time, he said if I do that, he'd like me to help fix Miwah, which I had been working on since I came in. The company basically, when I say fixed, it's been in a suspension since 2014. But at the same time, I've been focusing all my time on Sangihe because I wanted us to be in production as quickly as possible and cash flow to be risked as quickly as possible. I've also been but I've been taking the time meeting with people that are the stakeholders of Miwah and had worked something out in 2019 before I left. Unfortunately, I couldn't follow that once I got stuck here for COVID. But when I come back, I will basically be focused on that again to move that forward. There's estimated to be 10 million ounces there, and 30% of the drilling they did show 3 million ounces of those of inferred. The company spent $60 million on that. Again, this was back in 2009 to 2011. 20 million of that was actually exploration drilling. So we are the only one that had that drilling information. And with that drilling information, basically, we're going to be able to get it moving very quickly once we get this restructured. So the issue is getting rid of the forest moratorium and protected forest, and which basically has been done twice by the company before, but never followed through on. So it would be the third time's a charm type thing. But again, it's something it's not on the top of the list. The reason being, it'll take a while and a bit of money to get that done. At the same time, we could basically be mining gold at Sangihe and earning money every month. And again, this is more of what the geology of Sumatra. If you look towards the north there where Miwah is, we're on a gold reef that extends the entire west coast of Sumatra. There's many major gold mines along this, Miwah only being one. Just south of us by 400 kilometers is Matabi. Matabi also has 8 million ounce resource, and they just sold last year for $1.2 billion to Trakindo, a PT Trakindo, which is an Indonesian Caterpillar. They have the entire Caterpillar franchise for all of Indonesia, but they also are involved in mining. We've been marking off our milestones one after another, and we're getting there. So we're to the next major milestone would be the first gold pour. So you're looking at a company that's not just near-term production, but also be adding a lot of ounces to the bottom line. So you have a junior that in theory can't go broke because we'll have cash coming in every month. That'll help us also with Miwah to basically move it forward as we show the Indonesian government or the Indonesian mine department that we can run and we are running a successful mine. Unfortunately, this company being in Indonesia since for the last 20 years has not really accomplished that yet. So we will be the management team that did, and that will basically allow us after the drilling program will start actually before we got the first gold pour. So that's going kind of backwards now because I moved that forward. But the Miwah will be the final milestone, getting that license restructured. So we're happy with it. Management team we have in place, Indonesia is really great, but also, company-wide. As I said, my background, I've been working overseas for the last 30 years, 10 years in Indonesia. Schoenstein is my COO for the project, actually, and he's the GM of the project. He's been in Indonesia 40 years. He opened up about 5 mines there. He's been involved in heap leaching and copper and gold. So he actually has a great track record in Indonesia. Toto Parsaro, he actually is just replaced by another gentleman named Gerald Kodo. Gerald Kodo actually has got really good contacts in relations in Manado in North Sulawesi government, which is very important for us at Sangihe. Toto has gone off to work on some other projects outside the company. Karen Dikowski has been with the company longer than anybody else. She's been here since 2007 or 2008. And she's been, there's no way to run the company without her. She's indispensable. Frank Roca did the original mining in 2013 on Sangihe. Once I came in, I brought it back on. He opened 4 mines for Barrick's mining in Africa, all gold. He basically has been critical in moving things forward through the licensing and also designing our new drilling program. On the board side, the board that's the management. The board of directors we have. This is probably close to 200 years now, and I'm going to 80. So we have both John Ellis and Joe Keen, which are very well-known figures in the mining community. John Ellis, having worked for Anglo Gold for a number of years, Anglo Gold North as chairman and CEO actually, and so he basically is well-known in the area of mining, not just in gold, but in nickel and zinc and copper. Joe Keen basically is the person I told you before who opened the first heap leach pad in the Philippines back in the 1970s. He's also built the largest heap leach pad in the world in China. He also knows Merrell Crow plants better than anybody else I've met, so he's indispensable in a lot of areas that we're focused on. Scott Shakin is an accountant by trade, but he actually has experience working on as the CFO of mining company in Indonesia before, a OTC company also. Colin Davis, excellent gentleman. Colin's been, again, like Gary Schoenstein, 40 years in Indonesia. He's been involved. He was actually the director of Dilution, which is a very large operation in North Sulawesi. So he's in the same area, same technology. He's also got a very deep depth in Indonesia. And, of course, I told you about Gary and myself. And that the board is very solid for Indonesia. And currently outstanding shares about 180 million, and I'll take any questions now. Thank you much for taking the time to listen to me.
Thank you very much. We're hearing you. Too bad we can't see you, but we're going to figure that out on the next one.
Believe me, it's better you don't see me. More people invest and don't see me.
Anyway, theater of the mind. What's the actual recovery rate? What are you building that only takes 3 months into production? Thank you. If you were kind of summarizing
basically, we're building a 100,000-ton heap leach pad. So the pads are very quick to build. And basically, you're moving a little dirt around. We can build a 7-degree grade, throwing on membrane. You have to weld that together, which actually takes most of the time. And then basically after that, you throw on some clay, and then you're ready. You throw on your material, which is the ore, and then you put the sprinklers on top, and you turn the solution on. At the same time, you built the gold room. You built pumps. You have a number of ponds you built, and that's all ready to go. You got within basically 60 days. The production processing plant is what takes a long time. That's why we're using artisanal at the beginning, because I can start right away. I used to do artisanal before in North Sulawesi, so I'm quite familiar with it. And so that allows us to start processing right away. It's a slower process, and it's also more cumbersome, and you can't process as much material. It's not scalable, but it gets us money right away.
Thank you very much. How many meters of drilling does $1.6 million get you? Has the company done any deeper drilling to check for gold under the sulfides?
Okay, $1 million basically will get you 25,000 meters. Okay, so right now we're working on the first phase, 25,000 million. So about $1.6 million give you about 35,000 meters. But this is once we get to the next few months, once cash flow comes in, cash flow will keep paying that. Being a large area we have, 25,000, I don't think the drilling will stop for 5 years. So our depth, most of this is very shallow. They've had earlier they had deeper holes. They didn't find anything below the sulfides before. We will do some deep holes. Our average hole will be 150 meters. Deep is 180 meters. Right now, basically, we're only mining down 60 meters for this current pit.
Okay. Has any progress on final land acquisition been made since the last update?
Oh yeah, every month we have. Our problem is right now too many people coming forward. We can't survey fast enough. Once things get moving, they get moving very quickly. I mean, no one wants to be the first. Once the first you start coming in, then right now our problem is we have to survey each piece of land, and all the owners have to come out and agree because they don't have the type of surveys you have in the West. So it's a much slower process. So our main problem is just the backlog of surveys. So, and then again, this is something that'll keep on going for the next 5 years too. It won't stop. Just once we get this area lined up, as you drill out, we'll find more areas we want to start doing purchasing there too.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to what does the overburden look like? What would be the stripping ratio?
On the small pit, which we're starting on, it's basically 1.5 meters, and the stripping ratio is 1 to 1.
And it's just palm trees.
Yeah, they're coconut trees. Yeah,
coconut trees, coconut palms. Okay. Are there any other operational gold mines on the island?
Not legal. Yeah, there's lots of operational gold mines on there, but they're all illegals working in our area. About 300 of them, about 300 guys.
Okay. Going to capital structure for a second. Warrants, options, timing, and price.
Okay, we're looking in front of me as we have outstanding shares, 180,000. I already mentioned me. Warrants are 52 million. Most of those some are 12 cents, most are 15 cents. I think there's on 25 cents now. Actually, I think half. No, I take it back. I think half of those are 25 cents now. Sorry about that. So there's basically half are 12 and 15 that will have 25 cents. Options, those vary anywhere from 5 to 10 cents. 5 to 15 cents, excuse me. And, the warrants, we have those 15 cents are going to basically this year and next year, and I think we have 2 more years on the 25 cents.
Okay. Again, everyone, you can ask a question and it'll send to me. Royalties, taxes, and government interests.
We have we not taking any royalties to any royalty companies. The royalty we pay the government 3.75%, and we pay income tax like everybody else as we start making money. We have a $12 million investment we have to, we claim against. So until we make $12 million in profits, we won't be income taxes. But yeah, it is 25% income tax now.
Okay. I don't understand this question, but maybe you do. Sure. To ask about COW, were they invalidated 10 years ago?
No, it was never invalidated. They put it on suspension. The COW was put on suspension.
What is COW?
Okay. Yeah, so COW is Contract of Works. It's our license. Okay, they're great to have. So basically, this Contract of Works this was one of the properties owned by the famous Barrick, Briex, famous Briex. Briex just purchased this before it was found out there was no gold where they said there was gold. So the Indonesian government put all their projects on hold and put them all in suspension. Back in 2007, I believe it was the East. It was the mining department decided to make this offer this back for sale. They offered it to a number of companies, including East Asia, and East Asia decided to take up the license. So they brought out suspensions once East Asia took it over.
How big is the investment?
It was never invalidated. How
big is the investment in the Merrell Crow plant? Why not secondhand something from online?
Okay, well, everything included the Merrell plant, infrastructure, extra crushers we'll need, building, as such, $8 million to $10 million. It will be $1 million, but that price was 2 years ago, so it's going to be repriced. We're assuming it's gone up 20% with inflation.
Did we hear that BARUF can drill 25,000 meters for $1 million? Is that what you said?
That's the quote that I got from the people that are drilling it, yes.
So $40 a meter. And if that's the case, is that the all-in cost?
No, with that say it's $55 a meter. What that say?
Okay. On Miwah, don't the permits rights lapse after some time if you don't drill the resource?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Basically, it says well, yes and no. If you put a suspension, which the company did, you can put suspension like the license we had with the Briex license. Once the suspension, in theory, you can keep on going. But the whole thing, you just don't owe back all the money that you should have paid in the way of keeping the license going for those in the year. So a lot of things have to be caught up on, and a lot of reports have to be done. And the license, the way it is, I don't like, so I have to try to get restructured so it's more safe for the company. So there's a bit of work to be done on that.
Excellent. I'll pass this over to Adam Graff, our senior mining analyst. Adam.
Thank you, Campbell. Quick follow-up question on the cow. My recollection from Freeport and Newmont's experience, that was something like 10 years ago. All the cows were invalidated, and you had to go to a whole separate thing that the government invented at the time with a different
mining law.
Yeah. So I'm confused. Did that only apply to copper mines? Why did that not apply to you?
It never went through. They never, all the COWs are still there. Basically, the government tried to pass a law that wasn't legal because they had actually, this is the thing, the government tried to say, okay, all you COWs, we have contracts with you. We're saying the contracts are no good. Well, then all these guys, including the ones you mentioned, said, well, we'll have to take you to arbitration as in the contract. Government realized they're going to lose all those. So they said, okay, well, maybe we'll let you go, but we want you to do this, this, and this. So they're trying to make them closer to the IUP system you're talking about, but they were not validated. No, none are invalidated. Not one. There's 90 contract of works. Not one has been invalidated ever.
So now Freeport, has changed their whole deal with the government, but you're saying that the reason that they
part of the IUP law they're trying to implement on COWs is, okay, this new IUP law says that after 10 years you have to basically sell 50%, 51% of your project to locals. It has to be locally held. Okay, but here's the thing.
Right, that's an invalidation of the contract of work. So did that law get stricken down?
No, basically they let the contract work stand, but they have to meet that criteria. But here's the thing: the Indians have to pay market rate for the mine, the cost at 51%. None of them want to pay market rate. So none of these people have been able to sell their 51%. Because no one wants. I mean, basically, even when we're talking about Freeport, I didn't think it was actually finished because Freeport went 6.6 billion. The country owners wanted to pay 2-point-something billion. Okay, so I don't believe that's actually really finished. I still believe they're in discussions and they're pretty wide apart. It depends on the PR I mean, there's a lot of PR coming out there, which is not. I would say I would be very careful listening to. But we're talking to people on the street. It's not done yet.
And then I'm sorry, Terry.
Sure.
You kind of go a little. Sorry, Jerry. You go. You're going a little fast. So if we could go back to the resource numbers, I was a little confused. I saw a resource number that said you had 100,000 ounces of oxide, and then I saw another number that it said you had 800,000 ounces of gold. Are those? I'm a little confused on what the numbers are.
Okay, there's two 42101s. One from 2010, which shows between the two ore bodies in Beni Bas and Bawani. Let me go find those. Let me see. All too far. Okay. Anyway, between Beni Bas and Bawani. I can't remember it all. We have 835,000 inferred ounces, and this was basically the holes are 100 meters apart. So you can't go anything higher than inferred. Okay, so in 2013 they drilled again reconfirmation holes on both Beni Bas and Bawani. That's the second 42101 that got released in 2017 when it came in because they hadn't released it. That one showed indicated of 119,000, 58,800, which is basically that pit I was showing you guys. That's where the value is, basically is the oxide 58,800 immediately. I mean, for me, when I was trying to buy it for myself, that was 1,000 ounces a month for me. At that time, I think I was going to basically make $500,000 a month profit. Now it would basically be free cash flow, $70,000 free cash flow now. So basically, the two ore bodies are on the same line. These are actually on the two ore bodies that have been drilled on, which is Beni Bas and Bawani. The 80 and 35,000 that you're looking at is inferred between the two.
Okay, so that yeah, great, Terry. So that 835,000 ounces, how much of that are oxide?
Half.
Okay, so 50%.
About half to 40%, 40 to 50% could be oxide all along that line.
All right, let's just call it 400,000 ounces of gold oxide, and same for the silver.
Silver has been running anywhere from 16 to 42 grams per 1 gram of gold. So until I drill, I can't tell you. I mean, I don't remember what the results are from the It's high silver content, but I don't remember what the average was on the 2010, so I don't look at it that much. Well, I'm waiting for actually the infill drilling.
All right. What is your metallurgical? I'm sorry, I missed it the first time around. What does your metallurgical work on the oxide tell you your heap leach recoveries are going to be?
85%. Well, I'm thinking no, for the gold 90%, 90 to 95.
And on the silver?
A lot less. Silver's going to be probably around. I can't remember actually right now. I'll be guessing probably 50 to 60%. As not, I mean, we're really testing the silver. We weren't really looking at recovery on the silver. We'll probably have a higher silver recovery because we'll be sending this off to be refined in Antom, so they'll do a better job once we get them the doré. But the silver recovery got basically with because before when I was doing artisanal, when you do artisanal processing for refinery, you don't do really well in silver. But I'm guessing it's going to be half. The 50% of the silver will get recovered. Recovered to doré.
Yeah. So you're
once we get the Merrell flow plan in, it'll be much higher. But basically, using for artisanal, it won't be that high.
But you do think you'll get 90% recovery oxide for the oxide gold? We using artisanal?
That was shown based on bottle rolls and column tests.
Can you explain that that recovery, the pre-Merrell Crow artisanal recovery process again for us?
Yeah, basically it's going to be you're running your cyanide solution through the pad. It'll leach out what metals it picks up as it goes through the ore. It gets collected in a liner at the bottom, which goes into the heap leach pond. Once it goes to the pond, the tailings pond, then it'll be pulled through gold rooms. Gold rooms have carbon tanks. The carbon basically absorbs the heavy metals, and as the solution is pumped back out to go through another round. When those carbon get a kilo of carbon gets 5 grams of heavy metals into it, we take it out and replace the carbon with new carbon. Apply the old carbon, we then basically burn it, and then we basically then melt. We get the ash, melt the ash until it's molted, and spark the slag, and after that we have the doré.
Okay.
So that's all done manually. It's not like a Merrell Crow plant where you run it through a machine. And the Merrell Crow plant uses zinc fines. It's basically, it recovers silver a lot better. Problem with our system does not recover silver well. But it's
Yeah, no, I get that. So the 50 to 60% recovery on the silver, that's up the Merrell Crow.
Yeah, we won't do that well when we're basically doing it with the artisanal. So we'll get some of the silver, and the silver will be enough to basically pay for the refining. So when it goes to the refiner, they'll give us a silver credit, but it won't be the same level we can recover with the Merrell Crow plant.
Okay, so once you get the Merrell Crow. Once you get the Merrell Crow up and running, and you're producing 50,000 ounces of gold per year from the oxide, you don't have, you got 7-8 years of that, right? What's the plan?
Well, basically, the reason I'm doing the drilling part earlier is you have enough, new material to feed the machine. Once I get the Merrell Crow plan, the machine set up, I want to be able, 4,000 ounces a month is the target, but we can go above that target. And the Merrell Crow plant that we're going to put in should be able to do 10,000 ounces a month. So basically, we'll just keep on, as long as I have enough targets, and I'll have to build some more heap leach pads, which are, like I said, not difficult or expensive to build, then we can keep feeding the machine the material we need to basically get the doré to send to be refined. So we will basically, the drilling plan, if we get 1 million ounces off this line, we're hoping to get 1 million off between Benny Box and Saint Laurent. Then we'll have to find those areas which are going to basically, it's 2.7 kilometers, not going to be by a full 2.7 kilometers. So we'll basically buying, areas that we need. If we have, over, 1,000 hectares, 1,000 hectares, I'll be surprised. But, if we have 1,000 hectares, I'll be very happy. I doubt there'll be that much good ground there. But it should be the million ounces should basically be able to get this, even if it's, well, if you get 50,000 a year, that's a 20-year life, mine life. I get to 12, we get to 120 a year, that's basically 8-year mine life. So understand, we have 90% of the area still to explore. I mean, I'm expecting at least another million and probably more down in in the south part of our area, because there's a lot of very good finds down there. So basically, like I said, the drilling will probably take at least 5 years to finish.
Terry, is there so the sulfides that lie under the oxides? Is that
Yep.
is that a non-starter for you guys as far, because of the is it refractory or or anything like that, where it doesn't pay for you guys, or what's the metallurgy there?
Yeah, we didn't focus on it in our metallurgy. At the same time, we played with it, and we will continue to do that. So we're not focused on it in the beginning until we get all the oxides out. Then we'll come back. Also, we'll start exposing a lot of the sulfides and see how fast the oxide. We'll actually be digging some about and putting it into piles and see how fast it oxidizes. So basically, oxidizes. And so it's possible that it might be a simple way. Also, there's a couple other ways to do it. We'll be doing experimenting with it to see if we can find a cost-effective way. You might be able to use an oven on it, but again, that's not very cost-effective. So, but again, we have not done enough work on it to see how we'll do it. But we intend to go back and work that as a second round.
Okay, and then can you just go over again the upfront capex to get to the 50,000 ounce a year target? So including everything up front and the Merrell Pro, everything to get to that top rate that your plan is for.
Basically, not including the drilling, it's going to be, like I said, about $10 million with the inflation. To get the Merrell Pro plant, infrastructure, crushers, all the things I need. Building the heap leach pads are fairly inexpensive, so we do that out of cash flow as we get cash flow coming in. So really, I basically have only worked for public companies in 2017. Before, it's always my money. I always spend the money. I'm kind of a cheap guy because it's in my money. So I tend to basically bootstrap all the time. We have funding lined up for a gold loan once we start pouring gold, which will get with a trader out of Switzerland, which will allow us to basically pay those $10 million in costs and pay back the loan in gold. This will not dilute the shareholders anymore. So the capital raise we're doing right now hopefully will be the one I ever do, the last one I ever do. And so basically the idea is once we are into cash flow, I should be able to fund everything from that gold loan and basically from cash flow.
Yeah, I get that. So I understand the bootstrap, but what can you outline the total capital to
$10 million. That's why that's the $10 million is the total capital.
So the 10 million is going to get you to your little your little 1,000 ounce a month, and then everything else you're going to bootstrap.
No, 1,000 ounce a month. I don't need $150,000 to do that. 1,000 ounce a month, basically, there's no cost on that hardly. So basically, that's being used. The main cost for doing large amounts of gold. There's 100,000 Indonesians taking 12 tons of gold out of Indonesia every year, none which basically spend any emphasis in capex. Okay, we're kind of using the system they use. I've done it before to get things started earlier. It takes a year to get that Merrell Pro plan in. I can sit there twiddling my thumbs, or I can start mining. Okay. So it doesn't cost me a thing to get started on a system which everyone uses locally. But if we want to scale it, then you have to spend some money. So basically, a year later, once my Merrell Pro plant is installed and running, then I can start scaling it. But up front, it's very little cap. It's going to cost me basically around $1.5 million to build the mine, but the actual capex on that is probably $150,000. So basically, again, I'm not a public guy. I don't raise a lot of money, see how much cash I can get in, and see how much I can spend up front. Never been like it. It's always been my money. I can't get my head around that. We build this step by step. You get a step, you get there, and you build a step on top of that. I'm not a guy going to put all the money up front and see if it works. I will get success at this level and go to the next level. And also Indonesia, you don't want to do it that way. But most companies lose money. India is a bad reputation. You got guys running over their thing on you right away. They run in there, they rush in there, and then they lose their shirts because you can't do it that way. If you do it, I guarantee you will always lose money. You got to be there. I'm there 8 to 9 months out of the year. I'm going crazy being stuck over here. But I got a good team, and I'm very lucky to have that. But I can't wait to get back there, and I'm going to be there a long time.
Mm-hmm. So maybe I can ask the question another way. How long until, with your current plan, until you have pulled more money out at $1,700 gold than you put into it to get to your, 50,000 ounce a year level?
Okay.
You think you'll see your account, going up by year 3 or year 4? What's your thought there?
The first year, basically, if things go well and there's no delays or anything, I'm shooting for around 9 million ounces. 9,000 ounces to me. 9,000 ounces. So basically, if you take $750 an ounce of 9,000, that's how much we have free cash for the first year. Now, once we do the deal for the Merrell plant, after 6 months, some of that goes away to pay the loan. Okay, so it's for the Merrell plant. Now that'll keep going on until the Merrell plant and the capex for that's paid off. Beyond that, my costs, that's from free cash flow. So my costs are, I have very small GA. So yeah, my balance sheet should be going up cash-wise. Before we hit the 4,000 ounce, we'll basically maintain. But as that balance goes up, I'll be investing that money into exploration and building a very large backlog of gold product to put on the machine. So I expect to basically be cash flow positive. I don't expect to be building a huge cash base because I'll be investing it back into the project. Also, Miwah will need some money too. So for that money, we'll basically be invested in Miwah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me hand this off to Erdi. Perhaps we have some questions before we return to Campbell.
Hey, Ernie.
Thank you, Terry. When we talk about your grade profile among the deposits, what you can tell us? It starts with like higher grade, or you have a higher grade core in the middle of the pit. Can you give us some color on that?
Well, the average grade is about 1 gram. We have some higher 1.8 and 2 grams, but it's maybe about 2 tons worth. So maybe it's about 200,000 tons. So the average is going to be about 1 gram a ton. In the larger pit, actually, most of that's I think 1 to 1.5. We have some 0.8 also. So if you basically average out to just about a 1 gram a ton for which is our sweet spot. Our sweet spot on the pad is 1 gram a ton.
Mm-hmm. Do you think you're gonna have to do some blending before stacking the ore on the heap leach?
Say again, I'm sorry.
Do you think you have to do some blending before stacking the ore?
We will do some blending on the 0.8 and maybe to average out to 1. But I don't know. I think in the first turn we'll only use the 0.8 because your first 1 or 2 turns you usually can't get a really good return. I mean, a really good recovery because you're just learning, what each ore body is slightly different. You want to kind of know how to maximize yours. So you don't want to put the good stuff on first. So we use the 0.8 on the first turn, and then basically once we're comfortable, we'll bring up the higher grades.
Got it. When we look at your starter pits, I can see that you guys did some drilling in between. You hit some grades there. You think in the future you can combine those pits? More
drilling is required to really confirm that. So basically they need more drilling. So that's some of the drilling we've done actually there. There's some drill pads being set up there right now, actually.
Got it. Thank
We
you.
believe so, but we can't confirm that until basically it looks yes and looks no. But yeah, until there's a couple more holes there to confirm what one way or the other. I can't really tell you.
Got it. You need more exploration.
Yes, we need
I
more
want to pass it to
exploration.
Campbell. Thank you, Terry.
Okay. I have a bunch of questions that were sent in, and we're running out of time a little bit. So, how about quick answers, Terry, and then we'll wrap up. But some excited people. Any comment on future financings or dilution? How do you answer that?
As I said before, hopefully it's our last financing, and we'll be doing the next funding through a gold loan. So basically, it should be no more dilution.
Good. Okay. How would you finance Merrell Crow plan if it's a $8 to $10 million from cash flow? So you've answered that. Please, any update from the government or the complaining about there was a lawsuit a few years ago?
Not that I know of, no.
No? Okay. Are we going to be mining sulphides?
In time, but after we've mined out the oxides, we'll go back and work on the sulfides.
Have you thought of share buybacks?
When we have money in the bank, we'll think about that, but that's a ways away. So yeah.
People ask that, so I'm glad you made that point.
That's okay.
Good. That's it. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you want more questions or you want deeper answers, reach out to me or Terry, or Jerry Wong here is also on the call. And please share your feedback on your way out. Just fill that box that's glowing right now. And if you like this, share it with people that you know by clicking over there. So at that, I'm going to pass it over to you, Terry, to close us. Thank you.
Okay, well, this is a really simple investment if you guys are in some investments. And if you're an investor, great, because I see if you guys are shareholders. And thank you for tuning in on here for an update. We're going to be a junior which can't go broke, which will start pouring gold. Plus, we're going to have a large upside in the way of drilling. I don't know why we're so cheap right now either, and I'm hoping basically that goes away fairly soon. But we probably have one of the best opportunities, especially at this valuation on the market. Of course, I'm a bit biased, but I'm over there and I know what we have on the ground. So thank you all. Thanks for all our supporters and our shareholders, and we basically won't disappoint you.
Yeah, excellent. We're watching this closely. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Night. Thank you.